Hi, I'm Dorothy, the creator of the Dark Roads Divination set of cards, talking about bondage. And here we have a building dominating the surrounding area, and it's really doing that. To the left of the steeples, you'll see a clock tower. A clock tower is to imply time, pressure, and most of the pressure we will feel in life, I think, in a modern world is time. The buildings to her left and right are dark and forbidding. There's no welcoming energy at all. It's as if she's completely alone. The branches are barren and it implies chill winter. There's a slight foggy look, which can be damp, and again we go for that word chill. And then from the ground in front of her, you can see that there are vapors coming up, again implying that the ground that she's kneeling on is very, very cold. You may think she's alone in the street, but if you look at your card and you look to the left, you'll see a figure standing in a dimly lit entranceway. And when you look at that, you get that sense she could be seeing him or her. They could see each other, they might know each other, but there's no support. But now she's being observed as well, so that can add to the pressure, and we're building the pressure in this image and her isolation, which is where the bondage comes from. We talk about fight or flight a lot, but there's also fight, flight, or freeze, and freeze is just as common. This is the energy that often leads to the desire or the wish to be saved, hoping somebody will come along and magically make everything okay. You could focus perhaps on love and romance in readings and queries, even in your mind, to avoid thinking about what's really going on in your life. As a reader, I've had that a lot, by the way. Individuals asking about romance and then picking up that their finances or their life in general is really struggling. That adds to the freeze. Aside from her looking disarmed and powerless, one thing that we might need to consider is that she can actually get up and step forward at any time. But feeling powerless, feeling overwhelmed, she is unable to make a decision about what to do next. And so we were aiming for this card to evoke that sense of being overwhelmed, overpowered, intimidated, under pressure. And then I'm asking the reader to feel those feelings in relation to their life or the life of the client they're reading for, and how they might be able to move past that by the next draw, by the next card. That would be the question, is what's my next step? How do I move past this feeling? Because it is a feeling, it isn't life. And we can create it as a part of our life. It can become a staple in our life. It could become how we deal with things or don't deal with things. It's not really a card of avoidance though, and I think I want to impress that it's more a card of inability, feeling inadequate, not knowing what to do, having maybe placed such restrictions on ourselves through whatever behaviours we've engaged in, that we now are back against the wall in that moment where everybody has the power but us. And that can happen in overspending. It can happen if somebody's had affairs, or if they've been doing things that are inappropriate and they get to the point where they just know they're going to get caught. Even going to work late regularly, we know that eventually somebody's going to say or do something, and we back ourselves literally into a corner where ultimately we have got no power in the situation. And maybe we could have corrected it in the past, but we can't quite now. But that's not all this card is about, because it is about a feeling. That brings us to the point of, if this card appears for you in a reading, what is my next step is the most appropriate question. What can I do right now? Not in 10 months, not after everybody's moved on from it, but right now, what can I do to get past this frozen state? And the bondage can be very tight indeed if we've over-invested in a mortgage, if we have too much debt. And of course, the only way past that kind of energy is divesting yourself of things that you no longer need, or even if you need it, you can live without that particular mode of whatever it is and go for something cheaper, or give yourself a break for a year by getting rid of debt. If a relationship has become so loud and overwhelming, it may be a conversation that you need to have to determine what the next best thing to do is, or how to get past that. So the cure to bondage, and that's what you're always going to look for if you draw a card of this nature, is a cure, is usually held within oneself. It's not held externally. Even if you think, okay, I owe the bank, and I owe this, and I owe that, and I've got to pay my rent, and I've got to pay my power, and whatever other utilities I've got, very often there are things you can just get rid of, whether it's Netflix and TV itself for 5 months. Guess what? You're not going to die. So it's trying to hang on to a lot of things that creates those ropes that binds. I'm Dorothy, this is Dark Rose Divination. In the Deckable app, which is free, you can download the app and you can trial the cards for 3 days. And if you like them, you can buy them. If you don't, you can just hand them back. Ciao for now.